The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This is Video Games to the Max, episode 196. Getting closer to that 200. We should have been way past 200 by now. That's another hit thing. And it's like funny, there's podcasts that started way later than we did, and they're like hitting that, and I'm like, damn, that's sad. We should have been there already. But yes, so I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
So, yeah, it's Thanksgiving right now if you're in the United States while we're recording this. Hopefully you are getting ready, not having to do too many crazy things. Perhaps you're at work like I am. Or you know,
will be,
will be, or well, I mean, by the time when people listen to this, I'm probably already at work. But you know, like, there's some people. If you work retail, I'm sorry. I'm thanking God right now I don't have to work retail anymore. Even though last year at this time it was a week before Kmart closed, so we had nothing at that point. It was so embarrassing. You know, like it's Black Friday and there's Walmart like down the street that everybody's going crazy and people are walking in the store and you're like, wow, the difference.
It's funny because like last year I like went out to Best Buy to buy like a printer and like one or two DVDs, but like this year I bought everything online. I just bought like 3 or 4 DVDs from Best Buy and that was it. Like they don't have anything I really want to go in a store for or like need to really.
There's some good game discounts right now.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, between PSN, between, GameStop, Walmart, I mean, unless you're looking for Nintendo stuff, which, you know, you should pretty much know by now that Nintendo doesn't, unless you're buying a Switch bundle, Nintendo doesn't really go along too much with wanting you to reap the benefits of waiting for sales on their games. They are always about value when it comes to their games. But yeah, I mean, God of War for $17 or $21, depending on what you want to buy it. Detroit Become Human, pretty cheap. I mean, a lot of great games from this year that if you have not tried them out, now is the time to go out there. You know, if you save some of that money, spend and play some games before you get to the end of the year. But yeah, there's plenty to talk about here between the last couple weeks that we haven't done a show. Once again, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing. I've been playing, just a heads up, I'll be talking about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Mark gets to talk about Treacherous Effect, finally, the actual game, not just the demo. Some more Red Dead and stuff. We'll talk about that at the end because plenty of stuff to get into here that's happened since we did a show last. And just today announced, even though it's kind of not fair because Black Ops 4 had like a 2-week head start, but still shows the power, regardless of whether they have a single player game or not. Shows the power of the Battle Royale and everything else. Black Ops 4, with their blackout mode and all that stuff, outsold Red Dead 2 with Red Dead 2's ridiculous numbers that they've been posting. They've apparently shipped over 17 million copies. We remember that big number that they touted out there over 3 days. Apparently it's brought in over 725 million. And the first weekend after its launch of Black Ops 4, it already surpassed 500 million. It's already the number one selling game of the year, and that game has not even been out a month yet. So
Yeah, but there was a report a few weeks ago about how like Activision is disappointed in the sales of Black Ops 4.
no, I think they were disappointed in the sales of Destiny. I don't know about Black Ops 4.
Oh no, they were disappointed too.
Well,
It's not. It fails to impress the investors. That was it.
well, you know what? The investors they're high on something because like I can understand maybe Destiny, which Bungie has come out and said they're not upset about it at all. Even though, I mean, what do you expect them to say? Like, do you expect Bungie to be like, yeah, we're upset too? Like, no, they're the ones that worked their butts off on that game to take 2 years to fix it. The problem is if you're making a Destiny 3, that doesn't really bode well because now everybody's going to go, well, why am I going to buy it at launch when I know they're going to take 2 years to fix it? So, yeah, I'd worry about if that's the third, because Bungie only has a 3-game deal apparently with Activision. So, if that third game is Destiny 3, I don't know. I'd be worried about Bungie jumping ship again if I was Activision at the rate things are going.
I don't think they're worried. Like, they'd be happy. I think I'd be secretly happy if Bungie left. Like, I don't think the investment in Bungie has ultimately panned out well for them.
Yeah, I remember that 10-year plan with Destiny 3, with Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not going so well. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is number 3, behind the big 2. NBA 2K19 is 4th. Super Mario Party 5th. Soul Calibur 6, doing pretty well at number 6. But again, like, of course, Bandai Namco's expectations compared to what Activision's expectations are is very different. But just saying, like, Destiny 2 has been in these top 10s a lot, and Activision's still somewhat upset. So,
I mean, they were giving away Destiny 2 with on PC for free. Like, that should tell you.
And they gave it as far as PS Plus, remember? So
yeah,
that's 2 different ways they've given it away for free to try to get people to buy Forsaken, and yeah. I don't know. Whatever Activision wants that number to hit is crazy. Spider-Man's still hanging in there at 8. FIFA, Madden 7 and 9, and WWE 2K19 bringing up the rear at 10. So not too bad when you got all these heavy hitters happening in October. That 2K19 hits that number. Apparently, October was so crazy for sales. It is the highest total since 1995 for an October month, and PS4 was the highest selling hardware by a large margin. Well, when you have Spider-Man, Red Dead, Assassin's Creed, and Black Ops all coming out for the number 1 selling console of this console generation, of course you're going to be the number 1 seller, because what does that all have in common? None of those are on the Switch. But the games that are possibly on Switch, there's quite a few on this list. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it helps a lot that you're getting the big games, and we know Microsoft is lagging behind in the sales department. But we got lots of Microsoft news as well on there. But Sony, probably the biggest, it's a shock just because, we've talked about, and we're not the only ones that have talked about it, but it's just been this aura around E3 is really starting to diminish, what they mean to the industry. Like, there are other conventions now that are perhaps surpassing what E3 does. I think, you can say what you want about, it's cool that we can now go to E3 as fans can now go to E3 and everything else. So there was always fans getting in because there's fans that know people that can get in. There's ways to fake being media to get in. But to me, it was always a cry of desperation to say, we're now going to sell tickets and let fans come in. The fact that you've kept it media for so long and now you need fans to come to make sure this thing is worth holding every year. I don't know. That always cried like, okay, I don't think this is long for this world. And yeah, Sony announces they're not doing E3 in 2019. There's various ways to look at this, right? Because they didn't do a PSX either, which is normally like around this time or within a week or two. What do you think is like the biggest reason? For me, I think it's just they don't have a lot to show, and they're just going to show the same games again.
Like, I don't think if they try to show like a 20-minute thing of Days Gone, I think people might riot.
Well, Days Gone's going to be out by then. So it's out in February.
Hopefully.
But even then, like, okay, do you really want to show more of Last of Us 2? Do you really want to show more of Death Stranding? I mean, how much more of Death Stranding do you have to show that's not, like, really spoilery at this point?
I mean, the other thing is, I mean, that PS5 is coming eventually, like, probably sooner rather than later. Like, they may hold off this year or announce, like, a PS5, like, just announcement, like, trailer or something, like, on their own.
I feel like this is the big time to capitalize on PSX. Like, it's usually late November, early December. It's almost at the end of the year. I think you can, even if you're going to release the PS5 in November of 2020, I think that's a fine enough time to say, okay, here's the PlayStation 5, here's what it's going to cost, and you'll have a lot of time between the announcement. I mean, there's no guarantee, right, that Microsoft is going, they already announced that they're working on it, so I don't know how much more there really is to shed light out there other than, you know, what's actually in the system and how much it costs. But let's say Microsoft were to do that at the E3, you have a, 6-month time period to try to just absolutely top that and go, oh yeah, here we are entering 2020 and we just douse all the flames that you thought Microsoft put us in after their announcement. So
yeah,
you know.
I think Microsoft is really scared about the PS5, like, in general, because of how bad this this cycle went. And like how they were the dominant leader, last generation cycle, pretty much.
Well, they should be. You have to be, especially with the arrogance that Microsoft came out with last time, copying what Sony did with the PS3. I think Sony is woke to the fact that you can't do what you did with the PS3. You have to be ready to turn on a dime and say, okay, look, we're competing. And Microsoft is buying studios. They're not playing around, so they're committed to this, so we have to do the same. I don't think Sony can just come out there and go, all right, you've waited, here it is, and we're gonna, we're not gonna try to price match or lower the price of whatever Microsoft comes out with or whatever. I think it's going to be the same thing we saw last go around, where Sony's still going to try to play that trump card because they have to.
Yeah,
and it's like the worst thing they can do is let Microsoft get any kind of leg up at this moment, because I feel like with them buying studios and stuff, you give Microsoft an inch, they're going to take that mile with and not look back at all.
Yeah, but I think, like, look how fast fortunes can turn around. Like, original Xbox sucked, kind of. Xbox 360 did well. Xbox One sucks. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, it's true. It feels like with PSVR, they've finally figured out how to make really good games for it, or games that people would want to check out. At least, especially this year, you have at least 4 or 5 games that Like, there's a $200 sale on PSVR with 2 of those games included, and I keep sitting there going, man, do I want to pull the trigger on it? Do I want to do it? With Sony's history of their bad history of backwards compatibility with, the PS3 forward, it makes me think that they're not going to, but I would think that they would at least have some kind of upgrade program or something that affects, like, not having to go through a GameStop or whatever of, okay, we know you got these old headsets. Here's the new one. Pay $100 or $150 and get the new one. Like, all the games will work on it. I just feel like if you don't make the games work on whatever the next peripheral is, you're dooming that thing. But, they haven't really needed it. It's sold well without them getting the games that they've gotten this year, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass there, but I don't know. I feel like you need that.
Yeah. I mean, guess we'll see, a few months from now.
I mean, what do you, like, Nintendo, there's been talk about, like, Nintendo doing I wouldn't call it a Switch 2, I'd call it like a Switch
the
upgrade.
Switch Pro. Yeah. See, that would kind of annoy me, just because, like, I just got my Switch this year. It's only been out for 2 years also.
But we've seen what Nintendo does with the whole exclusive games, right? I mean, it's like one game, it would suck if it's like that one game that I really wanted. Like, the reason why I got the new 3DS was all because of Xenoblade Chronicles. But, like, I was one in not that many that got it for that reason. So, I don't know. With the way they've done that, I don't think that they would just come out with a slew of games and go, oh yeah, these only work on this new system, by the way. Like,
oh, no, they wouldn't. But it still would just be kind of annoying, because even now the Switch has some power problems, like not with Nintendo games, but with, like, other games. Like Diablo 3 looks fine, like environments, and, like, it doesn't slow down. But the character, it's like your character you're playing looks terrible with, like, aliasing.
Yeah, he looks really blurry, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying.
I mean, it's like the one knock against the game, really, but still, like, that's a 6-year-old.
Does it bother you when you play?
No, because you're not really focusing on it that much. But, like, if you're standing still, and then you can, like, take it in, it's like, ew.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a 6-year-old game, and if they can't get that working, like, they got it working 99% of the time, sure, but that kind of says a lot about the Switch power, aside from Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, World of Final. The reason why I just stuck with upgrading World of Final Fantasy to the Maxima thing on PS4 was because that also was a problem. It's apparently, like, I watch YouTube videos and it's not as bad as some pictures were showing, but it's still the fact that, like, that game is not that graphically intensive. It has chibi characters, and you're still having to worry about, like, it looks blurry at times or fadey, or, like, that shouldn't be that big of an issue.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, the Switch is bad. But they have to really rein it in or kind of work to its strengths, like Nintendo does. And most companies, when they port, like, Doom over, it's like they get it working fine enough. But between, if I'm going to play Doom between, like, the Switch, a PS4, or PC, the Switch is not the one I'd pick first.
Yeah, same thing like Wolfenstein 2. Like, both of those are on sale. Those are, like, 2 of the big games on sale, and it's like, I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to play that on Switch.
Look at, like, WWE 2K19 or even, like, 2K18 when that came out last year. Like,
that was an abomination.
Yeah, that was a mess, and I don't think they ever got that working correctly.
Yeah, I think the only, like, FIFA 18 was stripped, of course, of features. Like, I think the only one that they really got working is, like, NBA 2K. That's the only one that they really, like, Visual Concepts made sure that worked really well.
And I'm sure it's somewhat simplified, but not as much. Or, Plus, if I don't have as much graphical,
I mean, it also helps that they don't have competition there, so like they can kind of, rein it in a little bit and just be like, oh, it's on Switch, and people will buy it because
yeah,
EA is. They'll bring FIFA over because they know they'll make money, but like obviously they haven't tried to bring Madden over, or and they're not going to do that with NBA Live, so so it is what it is. But yeah, increasing the power I think is going to be cool. I don't know about a bigger screen. Like the screens when the Joy-Cons are connected, like it's big enough already. Like it has a fit in your hand size that's really good right now. Like I don't know that you want to make it any wider.
I think if they did like a 20% increase on the size of everything, it'd be better for me, because I still hate the Joy-Con size. Like when you're just using like one of them.
Yeah,
it just feels incredibly awkward to use, and
especially if you're using if you're using it sideways.
Yeah, because neither one has the analog stick correct, or if the analog stick's correct, then the buttons are oddly placed, and it's like, you idiots.
I still can't really get used to using the left one that has the C buttons instead of just having another row of the A button and all that stuff. Is like I always give that one to Anaya. I'm like, here, you play with that because this is weird to me. So, but she figures it out well enough. Yeah, it's crazy to think that we're talking about next gen, and it feels like it's almost here again. Like,
well, I mean, the PS4 and Xbox have been out for what, 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it was 2012 when you were talking about the code names for those.
Yeah,
it just still feels like, gosh, they should last longer. But
I mean,
yeah,
I don't, like, if the PS5 came out tomorrow, I don't think I'd buy one necessarily, but I'd probably get one soon. But also, I mean, you got 2 years to start saving.
Though, is like 2020. If a lot of those games are not going to come out until right around when the PS5 is going to come out, like the Last of Us 2s and the Death Strandings and all that, like that makes it really worth it to buy a PS5.
Yeah.
If they're going to come out simultaneous.
I think the one thing I would say about the PS5, I mean, there is some talk about like the Ryzen 8 core processor and all the other stupid technical crap.
Right.
But I think, like with the PS4, like the system architect will be like, it'll be American led. Like, I don't know if Mark Cerny will be doing it again necessarily, but I'm sure he'll have a hand. But I think because it'll be very much in line with the PS4, and not the screwball thing that the Japanese did with the PS3.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Mark Cerny does come on stage and go, I've been working with the PS5. I mean, he did such a good job with the PS4. I think they would probably tap him to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's getting back to this whole thing about Sony skipping E3. I think it hurts E3 obviously a lot because people wait for that Sony press conference. I mean, obviously last year they let the cat out of the bag that this is what they're going to announce or what they're going to show off, but it was their big games and people wanted to see more of them. So it was kind of fine, but still at the end of the day, like, people wanted more. And I think Sony's just tempering expectations and saying, like, look, these are kind of the games that we're just polishing and really making a big deal about. It doesn't mean that we won't have any other games come out on our system, obviously, but if PS5 is really coming in 2020, very much like the way Microsoft has been, very, very quiet. They've released games. It also helps that there's Game Pass, so none of their games releasing feel like an event anymore. But it just I think people just need to expect that, okay, you're gonna have Days Gone and then maybe nothing.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year, as far as like Sony exclusives or whatever, you're just gonna be buying those multi-platform games, and your Kingdom Hearts 3, and even before that, and
I mean, I think
else.
Sony will still have more exclusives on the Microsoft or Xbox for sure, though.
Well, but if you're only releasing Days Gone,
I don't mean Sony necessarily. I mean other companies I mean look at like Atlas. They don't give a shit about the Xbox One.
oh well, yeah. I mean, I don't. Well, I mean, what are they gonna like the Yakuza Kiwami or whatever 3 through 5
yeah
thing?
And like Valkyria Chronicles come out to the Xbox One or no?
I don't think. No, it came out to PS4 and Switch.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much like that's what games.
But they released that stupid. What was that? The bad Valkyria Chronicles game that has nothing to do with the other games.
Yeah, Revolution, I think.
Yeah, they released that on Xbox.
Or
yeah, no.
Even like Disgaea never comes to Xbox. I mean, I'm kind of shocked.
Well, that's because NIS doesn't work with Xbox at all anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm kind of shocked that I'm still kind of shocked that Kingdom Hearts is coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I think that's just Sony. With Final Fantasy 15, they'd already had a presence on Xbox, so why not try to make more money and let people think that collection's probably ever coming, because it's not. I mean, it might. It's like Square keeps saying that like Microsoft has to say yes. I think what it is they're probably waiting to see what the sales are for 3, and then maybe they'll say yes. But still, that's a lot of work for Square to do, considering what we're going to talk about with them.
Yeah,
what they've had to go through. It's just, yeah. We might as well just go there because it's in conversation. But I mean, it's old news by now. Probably about the news about Final Fantasy 15's development is pretty much over. There will be no 4 DLCs coming between next year and 2020. There's only going to be the Art DLC now, which really upsets me because I feel like you needed that Luna Freya DLC.
Yeah,
like there are so many holes in that Luna Freya
to make her an actual character.
Yeah, to make her an actual character. I mean, the movie is nice, but it doesn't do anything to really tell you much about her. And then like, okay, cool, Arden, the villain, is gonna get his little story, and I was looking forward to that one too. But man, not having the Luna Freya one like really leaves holes in that 15 story. So that sucks. And
also, I mean, the one I actually kind of wanted to see was the Noctis one.
Yeah, that too. Like, what were they gonna do with Noct, and how they were going to further that? Like, after the way that they do the ending, and you're kind of like, what the hell just happened here? But yeah, no, it's just it's upsetting. Like, that whole game is. We know the turmoil. Most people know the turmoil of it. Almost never came out.
Yeah.
It had problems. Like, it came out, and a lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. People couldn't get over they changed Final Fantasy again. And it is what, the story is just convoluted as hell, but I like the battle system. Some people really don't. So, I know you liked it.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of the reason why I got into Monster Hunter World, is because I like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is a lot more action-oriented, right. But it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, well, see, we know that Hajime Tabata will not be working on Final Fantasy 16 because he is gone. He resigned. I guess all the investment that they put into Final Fantasy 15, the different SKUs that they released, did not pan out as far as sales go because they lost, like 33 million?
Well, that's theorized that that was the investment for the DLC.
Yeah.
But still, it's not. Square is a well-known company, but they are not the biggest. Like, they're not super profitable or big necessarily.
They're not, and
especially with how much money they have to throw away on like Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy.
Well, Final Fantasy 7.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that thing's optimistically, that thing's at least 3 years off.
Well, yeah, but that's also on them, right? Because they want to surpass the original with how this thing looks. Well, okay, you're going to have to put in a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I also was interested in the Aranea one, too, because I felt like she got shafted a lot.
She just kind of disappears, but also she probably would have had a very different play style.
But I loved her character. Like, it's been so long since you had a Dragoon character in Final Fantasy, so...
Yeah.
Having that get fleshed out would have been cool because she was cool in the Prompto one, like the fact that she helps and everything else. But yeah,
and they're also spinning off that stupid Comrades thing, which I don't think anyone plays. Like,
I don't ever hear anyone talking about that.
Yeah,
like,
I
thought about it for a little bit. I'm just like, why? So.
I think it might be big in Japan. You never know.
Yeah, it could be.
It
comes out next month, next month. The Adventurer from Another World.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, if I was Square, I'd do everything in my power to hire Tabata back, and if I could get him back, I'd fire Nomura because fuck that guy.
Well, you can't say that when he makes Kingdom Hearts what it is. So. And that game, is going to sell ridiculous amounts. So
I let him finish Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, all right, you and all your zippers can get your walking papers.
Probably not. When Nomura also has a lot to do with the Final Fantasy VII remake, which is exactly what he's going to move over to as soon as. Which they announced already this week that they've completed development now on Kingdom Hearts 3. So now it's just playing the waiting game of 2 months in order to get to play the game.
Well, it was funny because I was talking about this with a friend of mine. Like, if you honestly just dumped, made the environments and everything, like Midgar and, the world of Final Fantasy VII, but you just use, like, the Final Fantasy 15 combat engine, it'd be fine for most people. I mean, they wouldn't like.
I don't know for most people. There's still a lot of people that would get really, really. Okay, it's one thing to make a whole new Final Fantasy, and this is your battle system. To go and tell 7 lovers and 7 diehards that you're completely to completely change the battle system is different. And I know they're going to do that somewhat, but I think they're still sort of doing both, right?
You could basically evolve the weight system from Final Fantasy 15 to just be like active time battle or battle, whatever the hell it was in Final Fantasy 7. Mm-hmm. Like, you select an action with Cloud, you immediately jump to Tifa, select another action, jump to Barrett, and then you have execute, and then they do all the moves. The monster would attack or whatever, and then it'd pause again, and you just do that over and over. But also you could just play like an action.
Well, that's the Final Fantasy 13, basically, then.
Yeah.
Which I like that battle system too. It's fast.
Yeah, but that had a problem with like all the stupid classes and all that stupid like auto battle.
Oh well, that's you don't need all that with 7. You didn't have it anyway.
The inherent problem with even my idea is, like environmentally wise, Final Fantasy 15, like the world is honestly pretty small. Like there's the desert parts, the swamp areas, like a few big cities, and like a lot of cookie cutter, little towns, and that's about it, or like a little outpost.
Well, that's because most of the time you're just driving around.
But think about how massive the world in Final Fantasy VII is. Like how many different towns you're going to, how many, there are.
What are they going to do with the world map?
Yeah, how many different dungeons, or just different, like, one-off areas.
Which is why I think they still have not said that they're not doing the episodic thing. So that's why I wonder if we're not going to have, like, world map travel. You're just going to go from place to place.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing the episodic, so that you don't have to do the whole world map travel and all that, which... I don't know. I feel like if anything, Dragon Quest 11 selling hotcakes has shown is that people still love their, and Octopath Traveler as well. People still love their old RPG. So I get it that like if you did a full turn-based battle system like 7 had, you might turn off a lot of people. But your majority of what you're supposed to be doing with this is really trying to nail it for the big Final Fantasy VII fan, and the big Final Fantasy VII fan was almost everybody because that was the game that a lot of people played on their PlayStation. So yeah. I don't know. Square's always weird with this, and they make it work though. So
it's also, I mean, peripherally, it's kind of weird how badly Shadow of the Tomb Raider is bombed.
That doesn't surprise me though. Like,
I mean, Rise did well.
Rise did well, but Shadow kind of came out and.
Well, like, the problem with Shadow is it was made by a different developer, and it wasn't as good of a game.
Like, well, it was made by the old developer, right? The old Tomb Raider developer.
No. Because Eidos, not Eidos. I think it's Core. No, not Core.
I thought Eidos was the one doing it because Crystal Dynamics moved over to the Avengers game.
No, the guys who did like the Deus Ex games did it.
That's Eidos, I thought.
Well, Eidos Montreal though, not Eidos itself, because Eidos is in I think Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eidos Montreal, and they did Deus Ex, and they did the port. I think they helped with the development of like Rise and original Tomb Raider, but it was still Crystal Dynamics.
Right. I don't think it's just that. I think it's also just. It came out, and I remember a lot more talk about it's because there was more games coming out at the same time, too. When Shadow came out, there was other games that people were playing that, and I think people were also trying to save money for Red Dead coming and all that stuff. I think it's just Shadow came out in the middle of, oh God, there's all this stuff coming out in October. And there's only so much money to go around, and that sucks. I mean, we gotta remember even for the first one, it's not like Square was always happy with how it sold. So imagine this one's selling way less.
They have insane sales expectations, which are just not feasible, and then that leads to problems.
And then Just Cause 4 is coming. In a couple of weeks, and
I mean, I'm excited for it. I don't think it'll sell that well necessarily, or sell fine, but it might sell like 1 million copies. But it's not going to do like the 4 or 5 million that Square wants it to, or probably needs it to at this point.
No, not when Smash comes out 3 days later.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's going to kill it. Like, you basically put your game out there. You might get some people that are really, they don't have a Switch and they're looking for that game to play post, Black Friday and before the holidays or whatever. Just, I don't know. I don't think that that's going to do well. They're banking everything on Kingdom Hearts 3 right now, and I think that'll be fine. That'll do what they want it to do because everybody's been waiting. Kingdom Hearts 2 is almost 14 years old now. That you're not going to have a problem with that, but I did find it interesting though, before we get off the topic of 7, that Nomura's actually entertaining the idea of doing something with the other Final Fantasy VII games.
Like incorporating them more, or
possibly even doing remasters or remakes of those. Crisis Core, yes.
I mean, yeah, that's the one I would want.
Yeah.
Like even if they just did like a slightly upscaled port, because I mean, it'd probably be pretty hard to do like an HD port of Crisis Core.
Right.
But if they just put it on like PS4, smoothed it out a little, and said, "Here you go," I'd be happy because I really like that game.
Well, I'd like to see it on Switch too. So hopefully.
I mean, honestly, it was a portable game, and it's really built kind of for portable systems, so, like all their mission mode crap.
You think they would port it to the Vita?
Probably not. I think it might be already on the Vita though.
Well, you can get it on the store, right?
Yeah.
The PSP. Before Crisis, I just had never heard of that before now. So apparently, people really want to play that again.
Yo, what about that Final Fantasy VII snowboarding game from Japan?
If you're gonna include Dirge of Cerberus in that, you better fix it. So,
where's Chocobo Racing coming from?
I don't know. They could throw that one in there. I mean,
yeah,
they make those dungeon games still, so why not? But yeah, it's all part of that story. Zack's story is very important, so I would hope that they include that in there. But
and the funny thing is that's one reason I don't like Final Fantasy VII, like the core game, is Zack's story is important. They barely touch on it in that game.
Mm-hmm. It's like a offhand comment that's made in a backstory part.
And then at the end, they try to explain Cloud is this guy suffering amnesia and all the other crap, and it's like you should have tried to explain this a little sooner, or lay the groundwork in a little better.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
I think people really love that game, and look, I like that game too. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it has its moments that I really enjoy. But I think people really nostalgia remember that game and forget that the story is really convoluted in that.
Oh yeah,
that game too.
I have a friend who literally says Final Fantasy VII is the best game, and I'm just like, no, you are so wrong.
Yeah. For sure, on that one. Speaking of games coming out soon, Darksiders 3 comes out in a week.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic, however, they are just continuing to buy studios like nobody's business. In fact, one of the studios they just bought has a game that came out this week, Wreckfest. Or at least it's coming to console. I think it's been out on PC, right?
Yeah, Wreckfest has been out for a while, and it came out, I think, 4 months ago, maybe.
Yeah.
It's good. I didn't review. I mean, I actually bought it when it was in early access. It's a good game. I don't know how well it might play on console, but sure.
Yeah, they bought Bugbear Entertainment, so now they own that Wreckfest IP. They also own Coffee Stain Studios, which is the first publisher they've ever bought, which their claim to fame is Goat Simulator. So, I don't know how much that really means to anyone when it's a funny game or whatever, but it's not something you're hanging your hat on. They have Metro coming out on that date that perhaps they need to move away from, February 22nd. And, Darksiders comes out, and they just released the intro for it. And look, I like Darksiders, but good lord, it feels like THQ Nordic decided to put money into game development and buying things, and not into marketing.
Yeah, this game is barely out there. I imagine it'll show up I don't think it'll sell well at all, because they've not promoted it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's going to have a lot of huge word of mouth. It's also coming out during a time where people have already spent their money they're going to spend on Black Friday and all that stuff. And it's November 27th might roll around and people go, ooh, do I want to spend another $60?
When Darksiders 2 came out, they were out there explaining the systems, talking about what's new and what's different, all that stuff. I mean, this game looks a lot like a Darksiders game. I don't know what it does though differently. You have a whip. Can you upgrade it?
You have a female character. You have a whip.
Yeah. You're hunting the 7 deadly sins or whatever, and that's all I know pretty much.
Well, but also you got to remember, part of THQ's problem was perhaps that they spent too much on marketing. I mean, look at all the lavish commercials they have for those WWE games. I mean,
sure, but you have to spend. You have to spend a little money to make money. Like when this game comes out, it's not going to make a dent because I don't think most people know about it or know it's going to exist.
Oh no, I agree with you. It's going to have like big word of mouth and like maybe people put it on the Christmas list or something. But yeah, I think it's going to come out and it's going to do fine. It might get to that 1 million copies, but I don't think it's not going to be right out of the gate. It's going to be one of those that takes a while to get there.
Yeah. And it's a shame because, like, the 5 seconds we've seen of gameplay looks okay, but I just know nothing.
Darksiders 2 is really good.
Yeah, I just know nothing about the actual systems in place. Like, I don't even know if it has the gear system or not from Darksiders 2. Like, the whole, like, loot system or like Diablo style like loot. I don't know.
Taken that out.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So,
but the fact that I don't even know, or that there's no dude, in a trailer going like, okay, here's what's different, or here are what is it, Fury's moves? Like,
yeah, Fury.
Yeah, there's just nothing.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it gets received. Obviously, it's different with critics because a lot of these places get the game early. It's through that weird service, so I know I'm gonna get the denial email at some point here. But,
the terminal thing.
Yeah, I mean, if Adam gets it, that's really cool, but I doubt that will happen for us. So,
well, it was funny because I reviewed Darksiders 2 for 411 for PC, and I think like 35% into the game, like I hit a like progress killing bug that means I couldn't complete the game.
I think I remember that.
And then I think I emailed the PR guy, and he was just like, do what you do, I guess. So it's like, okay.
Like, damn.
I think he emailed me like a PS4 code, maybe, but it's like, this is. That was kind of weird.
Like, that doesn't help you.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So what are you saying, that it's only on PC?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. I know about that. Well, getting through some of these other things before we also have our Game Award predictions, because that's coming in a few weeks. So of course we'll have our Game of the Year talk a little later in December, but yes, the Game Awards always happen in that first week of December, and we'll get to do some predictions in a little bit. So we'll get through some of this other stuff today. Also, news coming out about a possible, not that we didn't know that this could be out there, but possible that Mortal Kombat 11 is in development, thanks to a Spanish voice actor that was supposed to do Kung Lao and Reptile voiceovers. He got removed from that, then he got put back in, then he started being coy about whether it was 11 or 10.5, which making it 10.5 at this point seems kind of stupid. NetherRealm hasn't really said that they are or not, but Game Informer is the one reporting this. I can't remember, you liked 10?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It was busted on PC, but it was good.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, are you sort of excited for an 11? Or, I mean, what? Is there anything they can really do? Or are you just expecting, like, just more characters and...
Yeah, I think they may jump forward in time a little more. I don't think, aside from, like, Cassie K, I don't think any of the combat kids took off necessarily. So I think they may just kind of continue the storyline that they've had. I don't think they can do a reboot because they just did one 2 games ago. Yeah, it'll be fine. Or honestly, the story's probably the best part of that game.
That's saying something, because a lot of fighting games don't have, the story's kind of an afterthought. So
yeah, I mean it is that, and Injustice 2 are like the leading contenders for like, this is how you do story in a game.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball, I think, aside, because they just made up a new story for that.
Dragon Ball's problem is there's just way too much grinding. And like you're going through this like board game type, leveling system, and also like your characters don't regain health after the match is over.
Oof.
And certain story beats, you only have like 2 characters, and it's like, well, I hope I do well, because if not, Android 16 has a fraction of his health, and I have to. Here's another fight I got to do, and I said, good luck.
I've heard Soul Calibur also has a really good one, Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah,
but I haven't played that yet.
That's like $35 right now. I'd get it if I could.
Yeah, I usually wait for those to get a little lower because Bandai Namco's pretty good about sales.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like they did well with that one. So we'll see if they announce more of Mortal Kombat 11 at some point next year, maybe a E3 thing. Something else that people have been waiting to be announced, and looks like you're going to be waiting a long time because this is not happening, according to Reggie Fils-Aimé, of course, Nintendo president and COO. Everybody's been thinking, wondering, saying, oh, it's going to happen, a Nintendo 64 Classic. Well, Reggie says, no, it is not happening. We're not making it right now. I'm not going to say never, of course, but it is not in our plans. The only reason that we made an NES Classic and SNES Classic is because we needed to fill the time between the Switch, basically. So we don't have a reason to have a 64 Classic, and pretty much we've told you that the way you're going to get our old games now is through Switch Online. So,
well, the 2 things I would say to that is the only thing Switch Online has is NES games. Like, they don't even have SNES games on it, right, let alone N64 games.
That could easily be an E3 2019 announcement. Here's Super Nintendo games.
Second thing I would say is, of course, they can't do a N64 Classic with what the SNES Classic has in it right now, like power-wise.
Right.
Like the CPU is too slow. It doesn't have enough memory. Just like that. So they'd have to get like a new, Raspberry Pi chip or console thing or whatever, shove it in an N64 case and go here. But see, that's another problem.
And it would definitely probably have to be at least 100, if not more.
Yeah, that's one problem I have with people complaining about the PS1 Classic, and I think I mentioned this last time, is that is a much more powerful console than the SNES or NES Classic. So, of course, it's going to be more expensive.
Well, we also don't know how much power it has, right? Until...
put it to you this way. A SNES Classic can't run a PS1 game.
Well, no, it can't. But what I'm saying is, okay, everybody keeps assuming that this can get hacked, and then they're going to put whatever PS1 game. It may not be able to hold that many games.
Yeah, but you'll be able to delete games.
Yeah.
And at the bare minimum, this thing has to have 16 gigabytes of memory.
Right, so... But you wouldn't be able to get the whole PS1 library on it, probably.
No, but most people only need 20 games. Like...
I would say more like 30 or 40 if you're...
Or even if that's the case, you can swap them out. Just, plug it in and go here.
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend complaining about, like, oh, where's Legend of Dragoon? And it's like, dude, that was a 4-disc game. If they put that on there, it's going over the memory, the storage limit. Like,
you gotta remember, Final Fantasy VII is a 3-disc game,
and it honestly didn't need to be that necessarily.
Most of those games are not; they're 1-disc, but still, like they had to get. They couldn't put a bunch of RPGs on it.
Yeah.
Like they could with the SNES Classic because there's more power.
Well, a SNES game is, 2 megabytes. A PS1 game is 650. Like, do the math.
Yeah, exactly. The people that wanted, like, another Final Fantasy game, like, they wanted 8 on there because it doesn't have a remaster. Like, you're not going to get 7 and 8 both on there. They wouldn't be able to put they would have had to remove 3 games to put 8 on there.
Yeah.
So, it's not happening. But yeah, no, I don't think I'm not going to say we're never going to see it, but I think it's more likely at this point that they're just going to they're going to make a big deal about the Switch Online. It's cheap right now. We know how Nintendo is. They're not going to just jack up the price of it either. So I think we're slowly going to get, more consoles being put on there if people keep buying the service. If they don't, then we might only get NES games and that's it. But we'll see how it goes. I do think it's going to take a while. This is not going to be Virtual Console where all of a sudden they ramp up and we're going to go from having only NES games to having SNES, 64, and GameCube all on.
Unless you hack the Switch and then you're golden.
Yeah, that's true too. You could do that, I guess. Also, everybody complained about Command & Conquer, the mobile game. Well, EA is actually doing remasters on PC for Command & Conquer Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert.
Yep.
So, I loved Red Alert, so I'm happy to see that. I'm not going to say I'm going to buy it again. But
it's funny because I actually never played those games. Like the first Command & Conquer I got was CNC 3. And then I got into Red Alert 3 as well. But that was it.
My first ever computer games that I bought were like NHL 2000 and Red Alert.
The first computer games I can remember playing, I mean, obviously Oregon Trail, like a school computer. Mm. But I remember playing this like weird text-based Star Trek game. Like you're on it was like a grid, and you have to go it's basically like Battleship, like fire torpedo at A7. It's like the Klingons were at A8 or something, stuff like that.
Oh, no.
And then I had played a game called it was like a 1996 racing game called like Screamer, and that's all I can remember about it.
My dad had all the LucasArts.
Yeah,
games,
I remember playing. I want to say I played like King's Quest 4 in school once.
Oh, nice.
But might have been 5. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I played Oregon Trail and that 18-wheeler game.
Yeah.
That which I think everybody played too.
Back when computers were cool.
Yeah. Right? Where like you could put stuff on the computer. Like I remember I used to like put like a NES emulator and like play Tecmo Bowl on it, and people would be like, "How are you doing that?" Like you don't know, you don't want to know.
I had a class in high school with like this really weird old Asian teacher who was like tried to be a comedian but was terrible. Yeah. And he's trying to teach like typing and like Microsoft Word commands. I'm just sitting there, and I think I loaded like a SNES emulator on my computer, and I was like playing Mega Man X. He was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Playing a game." He's like, "Are you trying to destroy the computer?" I'm like, "No, I'm playing a game."
Sounds like my dad.
And then I think it escalated because I think he was like, "Oh," because I was kind of sitting in the front, and he's like, "I want you to sit back by me from now on." I'm like, "Okay." I kind of said it like sarcastically, and I picked up my stuff, and then he's like, "I don't appreciate your attitude," and my response was, "I don't appreciate your idiocy," and then I sat down.
Man, he must have.
We had a charged relationship, I'll say.
Seems like it at this point. Well, things we do know are coming out here is, Microsoft had their big event in Mexico, the XO 18, which was, when you're seeing it on screen, it doesn't seem like a really big event because it's just basically like a inside Xbox, reveal thing. Honestly, there was nothing that was like, wow, I really needed to watch that to be honest.
What are you talking about, man? They announced new DLC for that zombie game.
Yeah, for
State of Decay 2. Yeah.
And
Oh
they showed off
can't wait.
2 trailers for Just Cause 4. Which, okay. Final Fantasy 13 is getting Xbox One backwards compatible. It's actually out now.
Can't wait. All the 3 best games.
I still like 2 a lot. I have them on disc, so it's fine with me. I can actually... Another reason to... If it wasn't because Anai uses my 360 all the time, it'd be...
I actually have, I think, the first 2 on PC.
Oh, really? Crackdown 3 is now coming out a week early on February 15th, and now it'll come out with a 5-on-5 deathmatch mode called Wrecking Zone. I still don't care at all about Crackdown 3, so... I know there's people out there that really enjoy those games, and that's fine.
I really like the first one, but also the first one came out in, I think, 2006, maybe 2007.
Yeah.
That was, a decade ago, and that Crackdown 2 sucked ass. And when I watched trailers for that thing, I just feel sad for Terry Crews. I'm like,
oh, God, he's intense in those damn trailers.
Yeah. That game looks bad to me, and
yeah,
my fear is that it's just going to be like Crackdown 2, where it's just like, okay, you got to go to this area, defend this thing, or blow it up, and then survive waves of oncoming enemies, and then do it again.
Yep, not surprised. That is surprising if that's what it winds up being, and I will still clear.
Yeah,
at that point. Sea of Thieves gets a competitive mode called the Arena, which cool if you play Sea of Thieves. There's keyboard and mouse support for quite a few games, including Fortnite. The 2 big things that came out of this are the acquisition of Obsidian and Exile to now have 13 studios under the Microsoft portfolio, which, if that means Pillars of Eternity gets to come to Xbox, I'm down with that. Also, Bard's Tale 4 is apparently pretty decent.
It is an Xbox.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, like the Pillars of Eternity 3 or
2
or whatever, if they end up making that.
Yeah.
Wasteland also, that's an Exile thing. Obsidian, obviously they have their hands in a lot of games that KOTOR 2, Stick of Truth, all that. They have a very good track record when it comes to RPGs too. Supposedly Microsoft's going to leave them alone and let them do their thing. So
I honestly would hope not, because both In Exile and Obsidian's output is not particularly great at this point.
Well, what if like In Exile starts making like another Baldur's Gate?
I don't think they can.
Oh, because of the license, I guess.
I think someone actually owns. I think Beamdog actually owns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, a game in that.
I mean, like
way
the last thing In Exile made was the Bard's Tale 4, and that was, by most accounts, a disaster. And then they made Torment: Tides of Numenera, and
which
me and Adam both could not play that game.
Yep.
And Wasteland 2 was cool, kind of.
Yeah.
But they've made a bunch of this crap, to me.
He's excited, though. He had a big old got to talk on that. So.
The thing is both companies will have more money, which will hopefully increase quality. I think that's always kind of been Obsidian's problem, at least, is like they have a lot of ideas, but they never had the cash to necessarily make them all work.
Well, that's an Exile's problem, too. It's not like their games just look great or whatever. They just play.
I think my problem is, like, compared to, like, Larian Studios, who makes, like, Divinity Original Sin, like, it's the same type of company, but they seem to just do it better. Or they, I think they rein in somewhat like their more fantastic ideas or like their more, you know, out there, systems and makes a tried and true RPG.
Yeah, those games are still pretty obtuse, though.
Oh, they're gnarly, but they're not. They are difficult in a systems way. They're not difficult in a technical way.
Right. And the other big thing that come out of this is the 16 titles that are now headed to Xbox Game Pass throughout, like, the rest. Well, some of them came out today, right now, and some of them are coming a little later. PUBG's already been out. As far as, like, now it's officially out on Game Pass. Ori and the Blind Forest finally comes next month, as well as Hellblade. You're gonna get Kingdom 2 Crowns later in December. And then next year you're gonna get like Void Bastards, which is the new game from was that studio that is it the Ken Levine studio or the
No, there's another guy.
He also had to do something with BioShock though, right?
Yeah, he was a designer. Actually, I have a friend working on that game.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah.
So
I got the friend. He goes by Farbs, and he made a really cool game for PC called ROM Check Fail.
Ah.
And the idea of it is you're playing through different, like, basically like stages, but your character and the enemies are constantly changing. So like you might start with like Mario, and you're facing Zelda enemies, or you might be like the Space Invaders ship, but facing like asteroids from like the Asteroids video game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it changes like every 10 or 15 seconds, and like the way you attack changes because like Link has a short sword, but like Mario can jump, and so. Or like Pac-Man is super weak, but once you get the power pellet, you become invincible.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's cool.
That sounds awesome. So is it?
It's free.
It's free. Ooh.
Yeah, I'll send you the link later.
Yeah, I mean, and then also Xbox Live Arcade is back as well. It's gonna come in the winter. This time. We'll see if they eventually show up on Game Pass. I'm sure they will. But, yeah. I mean, I've always enjoyed those. There's so many really good games that came out of the summer of arcade. So I'm kind of excited to see what they decide to put on that. They haven't announced any games for it yet. But
it's really weird how Microsoft like pretty much ditched the arcade.
Yeah, and they were the first ones to really put...
Yeah.
oomph behind the indies, and then they kind of let that go.
Yeah.
Now it's like indies is a big part of how you keep playing games throughout the year because you're having less and less big games come out.
Imagine the Switch without indies.
Oh god, yeah, it would have nothing. I mean, it would have like it would be back to the Wii U time where...
Yeah, like every 3 or 6 months they release a Nintendo game, and that's about it.
Or the one like the third party that happens to come, like Valkyrie Chronicles or something. So, and those don't come as frequent as people think. It's just that they have so many indies, and now they can get even mobile games on there. Like they're the only ones that have Florence, I think. So, Bendy kind of just gross dropped yesterday, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I've been waiting for that game, and it's there. I'm like, oh, okay, it's $40. I don't know about that, but yeah, or $30.
Yeah,
but still a little much. Yeah. So I think the last thing we have to talk about before we get into the predictions is, well, last time. We had just come out when the Diablo Immortal stuff was going on. and the whole craziness with how that ended BlizzCon, and people got upset and everything else, and you know,
it's not gotten any worse or not gotten any better.
Yeah, and it hasn't, but at least now, I mean, this is weird that like they wouldn't just announce it. Like, is it that bad of a thing to just go, yes, we're working on Diablo 4?
I don't know if you saw. Did you see the David Brevik thing? Like I think last week, or do you know who he is?
His name sounds familiar, but
he was heading up Blizzard North. He's basically one of the guys who created Diablo.
Okay.
And he left the company in like 2002, I think. But he went in like a drunken Twitch stream like a week ago, kind of complaining about like how Blizzard is shafting their employees and like how like Blizzard employees aren't paid well at all apparently, and it was an experience.
Oh boy, that's not good when you have a huge company like Activision that.
Or it was basically like he's basically talking about how like Blizzard was the king of like PC developers,
right?
Like they had Warcraft, they had Starcraft, they had Diablo, like they were coming out with hits constantly. But ever since like WoW, like their track record is a little more shaky. Like Overwatch is doing okay, but I think he talked about how it's not growing like necessarily well.
Right.
He basically called Heroes of the Storm a failure.
Oh, it is
pretty accurate, yeah. And how Hearthstone isn't like doing that well either because it's a bunch of competitors out now, and how WoW isn't growing. So he was talking about like how Activision like is kind of taking over Blizzard like more and more.
Yeah.
And, like, how like certain like long-term executives in the company were leaving, like over the past like 2 years. Like 4 of the main guys at Blizzard have gone.
I mean, it feels like that, right? Like it's just you're starting to put out more. The expansions for WoW are starting to happen a lot faster, which they used to take their time doing.
Yeah.
They apparently were working on another type of Diablo game that got canceled that was going to be different, and perhaps that one was something that Activision wanted, and they were able to just get that canceled because it wasn't going to be in the spirit of Diablo.
Or even look at like Titan. Like that is what Overwatch became because Titan apparently did not do well.
Yeah, but I think releasing another MMO at this point, we've seen how that's not going that well. I think wouldn't have helped them. So,
what are we talking about, man? Fallout 76 is great.
Fallout 76 is going to be No Man's Sky, like where it's going to take them. How long? I mean, No Man's Sky released another update today that added more worlds and stuff. And that's great, but it's like, look how long it took them to make that viable. I think Fallout 76 is either Bethesda's going to abandon it or they're going to do that.
I think Fallout 76 is like the Metal Gear Survive. Like
right now, well, but I think there's potential.
It's funny because I follow one of the GameSpot journalists, a guy named Tamor, and he was talking today. He's like, "Oh my god, I realized that Metal Gear Survive actually came out this year instead of last year." Like he had like a PTSD flashback.
Yeah, I heard. I listened to the Bombcast that Jeff was not kind to Fallout 76. It's funny though, like listening to others that are. I don't know if they're just trying to be kind to Bethesda or what, but like people that are just rationalizing why the game is the way it is and that you need to give it time to breathe and like why it doesn't have NPCs but there's people being the NPCs and that's cool. And I was like, I don't know. I think you're trying way too hard to say nice things.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that this game is bad. Like,
yeah.
So, and I think Bethesda knows that the way that they just released it, the way that Todd Howard had to go on stage and sort of try to explain it to everybody, and everybody was just kind of like, yeah, okay. So, you know. But yeah, Diablo 4 is in development. It's called Fenris. And apparently it's going to be way more like Diablo 2 than Diablo 3. It's going to be really dark and gross and whatever. So, are you excited by those words? There's also going to be apparently some Destiny Strike things in it, which I don't know about that, but that also seems like the Activision thing is coming in. Why? I'm like, I don't know. Is that a progression thing that you think needs to happen to have something like that? I mean, to grow Diablo, or
Diablo's big enough. Like they're like they want to really milk Diablo, and I think the problem is Diablo's fan base is completely hesitant on that, or like against it. Like look at Diablo 3's stupid auction house system. Like people were not happy, and they eventually ripped it out. I think if they really tried to like loot box up Diablo 4, or do something really stupid like that, it would be a revolt.
Do you make anything about the whole, there was supposed to be a Diablo 3 like second expansion and they canceled it?
Oh yeah, probably. Because even the expansion for Diablo 3, it's only one act. Like it's a pretty small expansion, by and large. Like I imagine they probably had like another act to go, or more story, or more, something else.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been. That doesn't surprise me at all if they had something else cooked up and then decided not to. And they also said that there's no Warcraft 4 coming
ever
either. I think people need to just stop waiting for that. I mean, they're okay doing remasters right now, and that's.
I would really like a Diablo, or not a Diablo 4, a Warcraft 4.
Me
just
too.
because I think I'd be interesting. But the problem really with Warcraft 4 is you have WoW, and you can't, how are you going to fuck with that canon?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that, but I mean, I think people just, again, like, you're wanting something that they would have to just say, look, these are not connected anymore. Warcraft 4 is going to be in its own thing, and I guess they could do that, right? They could just say, look, Warcraft 4 is... Could they just make a prequel and call it Warcraft 4 or something? I mean...
I think there is like a first war between humans and Alliance, technically. Or humans and orcs, I should say. What they could try to do is have Warcraft 4, like, be on a completely different landmass, or human or Alliance and the Horde fighting on that thing, and then introduce that in another WoW expansion. Like here the characters you met in Warcraft 4. Now here they are in the MMO. Like that's the only way I could conceivably see doing it.
Yeah.
But also I just don't think they are. I mean, StarCraft 2 was fine, but it was pretty archaic. Like in the grand scheme of things, I think, or it was too like close to its original roots, and pretty much flat out, no one's talking about that game anymore either. Right? I think they still have like occasional. I mean, it's always going to be big in Korea. But that's about it.
Yeah, I mean you just gotta face facts sometimes, but it's just, I don't know. I just hope Blizzard, like Activision, doesn't get way too handsy into Blizzard and not let them.
That was the thing that the guy, like that brother guy was talking about, was like the Activision's like slowly taking over.
Ugh.
I mean, Blizzard's CEO for like the past 17 years just left. Like
that's never a good sign.
Yeah, regardless of why he left, that's not great.
It's not a good sign at all. But all right, so I think we can move over and and talk about Game of the Year awards and all this. I should also note that I've enjoyed it. I've been wanting them to have more apps on the Switch. Awesome that they finally added YouTube at some point. Like 6 months later, we'll add Netflix at the rate they're going.
The big three.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they had Crunchyroll on there too, so I can like not have to turn on one of my big systems to watch it or whatever, or waste battery on my phone. But well, that's a white person problem. So, or first world problem. Sorry. So, yeah, let's move on to Game of the Year awards here. We'll do Game of the Year last. I don't think neither one of us have a.
We're not going to do esports coach last.
No, I'm going to be honest right now. Neither one of us play esports games, so if you're an esports person and you're going to get mad at what I'm about to say, you should know by now, neither one of us play Fortnite, neither one of us play any of these games, so we are not talking about the esports stuff.
I just couldn't believe they have like 5 esports categories.
It's ridiculous. It's like, let's add categories for that, and then like they take the trending gamer thing off and change it to like basically best YouTuber, and it's like, oh, why? We don't need that. It's like,
right.
Could you imagine like the Emmys or the Academy Awards having like the best fan of the year or something? It's ridiculous.
Well, aren't the Academy Awards trying to introduce that stupid like best popular movie?
No, they did.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there this year, but that's different though. Like, because they don't recognize those movies ever for, the best picture. Okay, here, it's basically like what we do with the best indie game right now. So
yeah,
that's fine, but not what they do with this stuff. So best ongoing game, again, this is not something that really we indulge in, but Fortnite's gonna win this going away.
Let's see. I don't know. I might actually say Overwatch, or not Overwatch. Rainbow Six.
Overwatch won like Game of the Year last year or whatever, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say Rainbow Six though, like Rainbow Six Siege.
I would think that Fortnite wins because of all the popularity and everything else.
Yo, man, what about Destiny 2?
Sometimes I feel like the Game Awards has a hard-on for Activision, so it wouldn't be out of the realm.
Yeah.
Best game direction. I think this is the only time that A Way Out appears.
Probably.
So that's nice that it's on here. Detroit Become Human, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. These are all games that make sense being here. The problem is that a lot of this, especially this year, it's a lot of the same games being on a lot of this.
It's pretty much dominated by Red Dead, God of War, and Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I feel like Spider-Man is going to be the horizon of last year, where it's going to get ate up by God of War and Red Dead.
Yeah.
Best game direction, I'm going to say God of War, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say that probably.
I would think Red Dead might wind up winning, but I would pick God of War.
I hope not.
Best narrative, Life is Strange 2 should not be on here. It's one episode.
And it's
there
one
are other games that you could put here.
It's also one episode that that thing came out and no one talked about it. And even it's been out for over 2 months now, and there's no plot synopsis whatsoever on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's fine, but no.
That's what I've heard. It's a good intro. But still, why are you putting one episode? I mean, I get people had to vote for this, but you couldn't put Celeste on here. You couldn't put some. There are other games that could deserve that nod. Honestly, Spider-Man did a really, really good.
For story, I think Spider-Man would be nice, but I actually think God of War
Yeah, God of War as
because
well.
it made me care about Kratos.
I would say, like, I mean, I am excited to play Detroit, and I've
Yeah,
heard good things about that
I just picked
too.
it up tonight, so I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping it's okay.
Um, Best art direction: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Octopath Traveler. I'm glad to see that on there, even though people are gonna complain about its sprites. Red Dead Redemption 2 and Return of Obra Dinn, which that's also on my list of buying. Um,
I actually might say Octopath. Like, why not?
I don't think it'll win though. I think Red Dead will win or something like, or God of War.
Yeah.
Best score. Awesome that Celeste is here. That's one of the best soundtracks of this year. God of War as well. Spider-Man, Ni no Kuni 2, Octopath Traveler, yes, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Me personally, I still go with Celeste, but it's probably not going to win.
I've not played Celeste, so I can't.
It has really, really good music.
Uh,
Octopath Traveler has a great soundtrack.
I actually like Spider-Man's quite a bit, even though my friend Jens will hate me for saying that. I should probably say God of War. Red Dead's music is very unmemorable to me.
And all of the things that I've listened to and read, that is another, yeah, it's something that I've come to that conclusion that people just, the music is not one of the best things about that game, but there's a lot of good things about that game.
Yeah.
So they had a lack in something. Best audio design: Black Ops 4, Forza Horizon 4, God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead. This category I don't care about, but
See, for this one, I would actually like. I know we talked about it earlier, but like for these two categories, I'd really say Tetris Effect
yes. Why is Tetris Effect not here?
because
Like,
it got
audio.
nominated for like best VR or like best VR or AR game, so it clearly made the cutoff. But
Yeah,
Tetris Effect has a better soundtrack than Ni no Kuni 2.
well, especially audio design because the way they integrated audio into that game,
Yeah,
like that should be rewarded.
that is the game. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just that's weird. Best performance: you have Brian Deckard as Connor from Detroit. You have Christopher Judge as Kratos. Milisanthi Mahout as Cassandra. Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan. And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker. I think all 5 of these could win, honestly. I don't have a problem with any of them winning. I think, though, Christopher Judge, what he does as Kratos, it's fantastic.
see, he's
So,
good, but I would actually give it more up to Yuri Lowenthal. I just like his performance better.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, plus I'm friends with his wife.
That helps.
But no, I think he's a really good Peter Parker, and like I appreciate how jokey he is in the game.
That's good. That matches, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So that's
Yeah.
what I've heard is you don't ever realize you just think that's Peter Parker, and you don't think about it. So
Yeah.
that's how you know somebody did a really good job. Games for Impact: 1111 Memories Retold, which has been getting a lot of ads lately. Celeste, Florence, that's on my list to buy. Life is Strange, again, why is this on here with 1 episode? And The Missing, which I keep forgetting that I had a code for until now. So I need to actually get to playing that.
I guess it was really impactful for you.
No, apparently it's really good, and it's because it's on PC, and it's like I've had limited time on my PC for a while, so. Honestly,
I've never played any of these. I haven't played any of these
I think
games.
Celeste is probably going to win because it's the biggest game
Sure.
out of these. But I wouldn't be surprised if like Florence won as well.
Yeah.
Best indie game: Celeste, Dead Cells, End of the Breach, Return of Obra Dinn, and The Messenger. All 5 of these games are fantastic. You should go buy them, play them. Many of them are on sale, So
Like, especially with the Steam sale on right now.
yeah, go check them out, please. The Messenger is awesome. I love it. I love that it goes from the 2D Ninja Gaiden to the more Metroidvania game. I haven't played Into the Breach yet. I know you have.
Yeah, it's
So
it's good. It's hard, and it's very not trial, but very repetitious because you just die frequently. Like it's a lot like FTL in that respect.
okay. I was probably still gonna pick it up. I never really got to play FTL, but
I mean, for this list, I'd probably want Dead Cells.
I think this is the one Dead Cells wins because Celeste has other categories. So I think they would give it to Dead. Even though you should make the case that if Celeste is being nominated for Game of the Year, it should win its category. But, we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. Another game that's really good that's not only on mobile is Donut County. It's basically Katamari.
Yeah.
So it's like inverse Katamari, actually, but it's still really good. Like, I would say go buy that, too. Yeah, so best mobile, I think Fortnite winds up freaking winning, even though it shouldn't.
My problem with this category is there are two games on here that are not mobile games, which is Fortnite and PUBG. That's like
they're just on mobile.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
Florence and Game of Thrones are really the only two mobile games, right?
It's like at that point, why don't you just put fucking Minecraft on this list, or for like best mobile game or something?
Yeah, it's whatever.
Best mobile game, Instagram. The 9th winner, 9 times in a row. Big shocker.
I hope Florence wins, but it's probably going to be Fortnite. Best VR game. Literally, these are 5 fantastic VR games. Especially Astrobot, Tetris Effect, and Moss. Tetris Effect obviously is not just VR. You can play it on regular PS4, but it's like it's an experience in VR because of the audio. Honestly, I'd want Moss to win just because of what PolyArt Games did with that.
I would want. Tetris Effect for me.
Yeah.
But even aside from that, I think I've heard Astrobot's a lot better, or
yes,
the game for VR at the moment.
Yeah, that's the 2 games you get with that VR bundle that's out there for $200 right now for the Black Friday is Moss and Astrobot, and those are 2 really good games. And then you can pick up Tetris Effect, and it'll work in VR as well. So for like $240, you get 3 really good games. And then Beat Saber's out there if you want to buy it later once you have it. And
Beat Saber's not on PSVR yet, though. And it's going to be a bad version of that game.
Well, it came out today, or yesterday, or a couple days ago.
Okay. But it's still a not great version.
Probably not. Firewall Zero was pretty good as well. Best action game, which is basically best shooter with some games. Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, Dead Cells, Destiny 2, Far Cry 5, and Mega Man 11. I really hope Dead Cells would win this, but it's probably going to be Black Ops 4.
Yeah, that's my fear. It'll be Black Ops 4. I would want Dead Cells. I think Mega Man 11 would be really funny. And fuck Far Cry 5.
And Mega Man 11, I don't think it's even going to come close.
It'd just be really funny.
Yeah. Like, did everybody just get high that day when they voted?
It's just a big troll category.
Best action adventure game. Basically your big games here: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is just going to get shafted here completely because, you got 4 huge games in here with it. Honestly, I would hope God of War wins.
Yeah. I would like my ranking of that would be God of War 1, Spider-Man 2, Odyssey 3, and Redemption 4.
Wow, Redemption that low, huh?
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Man. I feel like Red Dead Redemption 2 will probably win, sadly. Best role-playing game. honestly, if you have not played it yet, go play Dragon Quest XI. You're gonna get annoyed with the music. They play the same freaking song over and over and over. But aside from that, the game is fantastic. It's a lovely ode to old school RPGs. Go play that game, seriously. I feel like Monster Hunter World just got thrown in here because they couldn't fit it into best action game. But
Well, it's weird. It is an RPG. I mean, you do level up, I guess.
yeah,
and they have they're more like action RPGs, but still.
Nina Cody 2, this is the one category it would be in.
Yeah, it won't win.
Yeah, Octopath Traveler and Plus of Eternity 2, Deadfire. I feel like they're going to give it to Monster Hunter World, even though Dragon Quest or Octopath deserve it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Best fighting game, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, which is coming to Switch. Dragon Ball FighterZ, Soul Calibur 6, and Street Fighter 5 Arcade.
It's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, this has got to be Dragon Ball. It's been the most popular fighter for the whole year. It's actually really good. Yeah. And Bandai Namco wins either way, because I think it's either going to be Soul Calibur or it's going to be Dragon Ball.
It got Jeff Gerstmann into anime, so it wins by default.
Exactly. That's a win. Right there. I mean, he got to show up at freaking Crunchyroll Expo.
This was funny. It's funny, really, to me, because, I mean, from his old GameSpot days, he was really against anime. And he still
makes jokes about it. Like, on the one this week, he's like, anime stands for porn. Basically.
Yeah.
So...
But he did a thing once, like a video thing, where he was, making haikus, haiku poetry. And I think his haiku was, Dragon Ball is dumb, but not as all the people who love it.
And then he's sitting there doing a whole podcast reviewing it.
Yeah.
What does that say? Best family game, Mario Tennis Aces, Nintendo Labo, Overcooked 2, Starlink, and Super Mario Party.
Is it funny that every game on this thing is Switch?
No. It's just what it is. It makes sense, right? Honestly, I would say Overcooked 2, I wish, but it's probably going to be like Mario Tennis or
I would
Mario
actually say,
Party.
I mean, I would like Overcooked 2. I would actually say probably Mario Party or Labo maybe, but I doubt it. But probably Mario Party.
I don't know. Aces has sold well, and even though after June nobody talked about it, but
that's the thing. Yeah, no one talks about it. So,
well, I don't see a lot of people talking about Mario Party either because there's so many other games out there. But that's not Mario Party's fault. Best strategy game, BattleTech, Frostpunk, Into the Breach, Banner Saga 3, and Valkyrie Chronicles 4. Into the Breach should win. It's a really, really good game.
Yeah, fuck you, BattleTech. No. I would say, Into the Breach. BattleTech is kind of cool, though, actually. But it's really not user-friendly, I would say.
None. So, I know you played Frostpunk.
I did not like Frostpunk.
You did not.
You bought it for me, and I think I played it for 2 hours, and I'm like, no. This is too slow.
It's too slow. And Valkyrie Chronicles 4 came out, and no one freaking talked about it. Outside of the first week. And same thing happened with Banner Saga 3. I think it just got ate up by other games that came out around it. So, yeah, I feel like Into the Breach should win, and I hope it does win. I just don't see why you need to give it to any of the other ones.
Yeah.
At this point. Best sports and racing game, Pro Evo, NBA 2K, FIFA, Forza Horizon 4, and Mario Tennis.
I would say Forza.
It should be Forza, but it's probably going to be one of the other freaking games.
Yeah.
And best multiplayer game, Monster Hunter World, Fortnite, Destiny 2, and Black Ops.
Fortnite.
Fortnite is going to win this game.
Monster Hunter is actually kind of a weird pick because like the online in that thing is really weird.
Yeah, that's the first thing I saw. I started thinking about you with how bad you crapped on the online.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's one to put in here. But all right, I feel like they just wanted to give Monster Hunter another category since they got it into Game of the Year.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in a few weeks.
What about Game of the Year pick?
Oh, that's right, Game of the Year. I hope. I mean, I'd love for it to be Celeste, but it's not. Not gonna be. God of War. I hope wins. But I'm scared that it's gonna be Red Dead 2.
No, I think it'll be God of War. I would actually wish it was Spider-Man personally. I like God of War more, but Spider-Man is just really. God of War is great to play, but Spider-Man is just more fun to play. You know.
Yeah. And sometimes fun trumps all that.
Yeah. I think AC Odyssey being on the Game of the Year list is a little weird.
I feel like people just needed to have another big game to put on there.
Yeah.
So, there's people that really like it though. Again, just like Origins. So, you know,
they're all high on dust.
There's a lot of people high on dust. Yeah.
I have like a friend who's like a diehard Origins and Odyssey fan, and like he got the game like a week early on Xbox One before even I did, and I played that game for like 3 weeks and I beat it and reviewed it, and he's like not even like he got like 2 of the endings. He didn't even got like the 3rd yet, and he's like just like plodding his way along. Like he's doing like every mission or every side story or side mission. And
when you really like a game, man,
yeah,
that's what you do. So, yeah, we have a person on staff that also is huge AC fan, and he really enjoyed Origins, and he's saying, "What the hell is Mark talking about with Odyssey?" I was like, "Look, he doesn't like them, so what do you want me to do?"
It's sooner people realize this.
So one thing we forgot to talk. Go ahead.
They should offer a rebuttal review, or you know.
Yeah, but you know he doesn't write, so he just wants to talk about MMA. So more. The one thing we forgot to talk about when we talk about Xbox is once again Microsoft is toying with the idea of a diskless Xbox One. I think this is fine. I think their idea of like some kind of trade-in program is silly because there's not a Microsoft store everywhere, and they need to stop acting like there is.
The problem with the trade-in program is what do you do for games that have been delisted?
Exactly.
And also, like, how much would this thing be? If it was $100, maybe. If it's $200,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like $199 is too much.
Because first of all, an Xbox One S is like $200 right now.
Yeah. And they want to come out with a different Xbox One S as well.
Like a reduced model of that. So is that going to be like $150?
I don't know. Microsoft's never been the best at, like, unless they're doing the all access, they've never been the best at, like, marking prices.
Yeah.
Sometimes they overinflate the price of something and just don't think about, well, that's too much. You know, Microsoft. We'll see. I feel like that's one of those things they're going to say they're doing and then they just don't do it.
Like, look at the hardware deal or specials going on right now. Like, you can get a PS4, a base model.
The Spider-Man PS4 for $200.
That's what I'm talking about. With Spider-Man for $200. It's like,
yeah.
If I didn't have a PS4, that's a fantastic deal.
Exactly. And if you don't have a PS4 for some weird reason, get that one. Even though most of those are sold out now. So the last thing we'll talk about that's not entertainment stuff is Prima Games has shut down. I think the first ever Prima Games strategy guide I got was for Pokemon Red.
I never really got them, but I would read them in like stores. I think the one I remember reading a lot was like Mario RPG.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Because there was some really weird shit in that game that, like, you kind of needed a guide for some of it.
I got like most of mine are Brady because they're the ones that do the Final Fantasy
Yeah.
games, and also Zelda. That's a Brady one as well. But yeah, I mean, with the internet and game facts and
Yeah, that's like I would say GameFAQs probably was a pretty big hit against them. I mean, the nice thing about like
well, now
guides.
like every freaking big website has their own wiki to like every big game. So what's the point?
Well, it's not even that. Like, I mean, I imagine like GameFAQs like hit them pretty hard, but the thing with the guides was they had like pictures and stuff like that. The biggest problem was YouTube because when you had people just doing like full walkthroughs, full complete walkthroughs, it's like, okay, why am I going to buy this $15 or $20 book?
I mean, credit to them for like, they would try to do stuff on their website and all that stuff, but just like magazines, Game Informer. Honestly, I feel like if Game Informer didn't have that deal with GameStop, they wouldn't even do the print magazine at all anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, credit to them for still lasting as long as they have. There's a lot of people that got their start in writing guides and are now, writing for websites or all that stuff. So, it was a part of the industry that was important. You needed guides for certain. I mean, like, even though this was a Nintendo Power thing, like, I don't know how I would have beat Golden Sun without the guide for that, because there's just parts of that game that it's like, what the hell? Where am I supposed to find this Digin thing?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of games like that, before we had YouTube just giving you walkthrough of any game you freaking wanted.
Yeah.
You needed to go out there and buy that $15, $20 guide. So, it's a sign of the times, I guess. It's a sad thing. Those days just becoming more and more novelties. Like, I had the Final Fantasy 15 one because I had, at one point, all the Final Fantasy guides.
Well, the other kind of inherent problem is games are getting patched and updated.
Yes, that too.
Like, I think I was reading a guide for, I think it was like, what was it?
Or all the DLC that gets added to.
Yeah. I was reading a guide for, damn it, what's that? What's the RPG on the 360 and PS3 one?
Odyssey?
No, Eternal Sonata. That was it.
Yes, that one.
And I think I was reading like the official guide, and I was like, oh, this item is here. It's supposed to be like right here, and it wasn't. And I read later that like, oh, it's in the PS3 version, but at the Xbox 360 one. It's like, great.
That game was so weird how they did that with that.
Yeah.
That was one of the games that, like, the first games that showed the differences between the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah.
When they would make things.
I think Sonata came out like a year later on PS3, so they changed like a bunch of items and stuff around.
Well, sorry, Prima Games.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes with print stuff now. First of all, I should have done this at the beginning, but rest in peace, Stan Lee.
Yep.
I mean, he lived to live to 95 is no joke, man.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's a shame, but also, like, his last few years weren't particularly great from what it sounds like, so...
Yeah, I mean, he lost his wife as well the previous year.
Yeah. And I think he's like being taken advantage of by like either his daughter or like his like business partners or something. And like there was one dude like trying to sell like Stanley's blood in like pens, which was like really creepy. Yeah.
That is freaking weird as hell.
Like he basically like bled Stan dry literally, and was like having him sign like his own blood on like covers of comics.
Yeah, of course, Stan Lee, I think his most famous thing that he's given credit for is Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man, I mean, Marvel. You should say
Marvel,
that, really.
the Avengers, Iron Man, Fantastic Four.
X-Men, yeah.
Yeah, X-Men. I mean, a lot of what you think of Marvel today would not exist without the help of Stan Lee. I don't want to say like he created everything. It's a co-creation with other people.
Yeah, it was mainly like him. He was like the written creative force. Like Jack Kirby was like the artistic one, really.
Right. But yeah, I mean, think about like what they did with Black Panther way back then. Like he really, the way you see him in the movie, he really was that forward thinking way back in the freaking 60s.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's during the times of civil rights and everything like that. So like for them to, you know, two Jewish guys to put. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say it's funny because, like, you know, Bill Maher has been going like, oh, if you like Stan Lee, if you like comics, you're a nerd, or like that's why. I think he said like that's why Trump won. And it's like when Stan Lee died, there was, you know, a huge outpouring of support and like sadness. Like when Bill Maher dies, most people are going to be dancing in the streets.
Yeah, people.
Even like liberals, like
come on now, like. Let's not. Why do we have to be like that about, you know, someone passing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just. It's sad. It's really sad to lose him. I mean, he still has some. He makes a great appearance in the Spider-Man game.
Yeah, I think they've filmed like a few more cameos with him. I don't know if they'll use him or not.
Yeah, he'll be in the Avengers 4, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like they'll probably make sure they show that one. Which, by the way, if on Christmas, Avengers: Infinity War hits Netflix, so people, I guess. Or you can
just buy the Blu-ray is like $6 from Best Buy right now.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, you wouldn't have modern Marvel, you wouldn't have these movies that you watch now, the MCU, none of that without the help of Stan Lee, and
yeah,
you got to give him all that credit, and he would tell you about it.
I mean, he's probably the biggest guy in comics.
Yes,
like ever, really.
I mean, he certainly promoted himself. That's not bad to say.
Yeah.
Well, you know, before we, we'll do it before I talk about the game or whatever. But also, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. somehow got renewed for Season 7 before Season 6 even airs.
When I read it's like a cost thing. Like if they lock in the contracts of the key actors, and it's cheaper.
Well, it's also Disney. They have the money to just blow like that.
It's surprising because ABC seems pretty down on that show. Like it's on like Friday night at 10.
I think
like,
it's just because of that streaming service coming. I wonder if they're trying to think people will subscribe to Disney and Disney Plus and watch some of whenever that Loki show comes on and some of these other things, and maybe it'll renew interest.
Maybe
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think though if they're going to do that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have to be on that service, and it would then have to be interacting with those characters.
Well, remember they're going to do a thing with Hulu where you'll get Hulu with it, and that's on Hulu. So, they're hoping that pairing will do something, because now they own 30% more of Hulu.
Yeah.
So. Yes, there will be a Loki series with Tom Hiddleston, so that's pretty awesome for Disney Plus to be able to do that. I am excited. I know you don't probably care, but I'm excited about a Rogue One prequel series with Cassian Andor.
No.
I know you don't care, but I like that movie, so.
Like the character, I guess the character was relatively okay, even though this is basically a Han Solo clone.
Yeah, basically.
The actor was fine enough. My problem really is just it seems like a bad idea, and then like them going like, "Oh, Gina Carano's in it." And it's like, okay, I can't wait till you shove her in a mask so you can never see her actor, her facial expression.
Rogue One was probably the one that used like masks the least, though. So there's a chance she might not.
It was funny because I was arguing with some guy on Twitter about Gwendolyn Christie as Phasma in like the new Star Wars films, and I was basically like, she's
she
a fine actress.
Do anything?
Yeah, she's a fine actress, but you wouldn't know that from the films. And he was going like, "Oh, you should show respect." Like, she's in Game of Thrones and she does all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, except they shove her in a fucking chrome stormtrooper outfit, so you can't see her act or emote.
That's the point,
anything.
though. You're not talking about what she does in Game of Thrones. You're talking about what she does as Captain Phasma, and as Captain Phasma, she is shortchanged, and
she literally, you literally could have stuck a stunt woman in that suit, had her voice a character like they did with Darth Vader back in the day, and say screw it.
They don't need her to do that character.
Honestly, I feel the same way about Oscar Isaac in X-Men Apocalypse. Why are you casting him in that role when who cares? And Idris Elba in Star Trek Beyond, who's like the bad guy. He's in it for like, you see him in like 3 minutes, and then he's like, he's crawling all this stupid makeup for like 20 minutes. It's like, why? Just cast a stuntman. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, you can have Idris Elba voice him. That's fine. But, and when he turns back into human form, you can have him being like Idris Elba then. But Idris Elba shouldn't be walking around with like, 15 pounds of prosthetic makeup on.
Well, sometimes just having that name, they need it to get people interested.
One quick question about the Star Wars thing, though. Do you think they'll have the robot droid back in it?
Probably. He was funny.
I imagine that was expensive, though.
Yeah, he might make an appearance or something. I don't think he'll be there all the time.
Yeah, or he might just be on the ship.
Yeah, that could be as well. Breaking Bad is getting a movie. That's not surprising because Vince Gilligan was very adamant that he was not done with Breaking Bad and that he always had a plan for a movie at some point. Obviously, unless this goes back in time or whatever, Bryan Cranston would have to... Spoilers, but this show is old, so you can bite me if you get mad. Bryan Cranston died, so he probably will not be in the movie much.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have him for like a flashback or probably some dream sequence or something.
Or things that he did that weren't in the show or something. Yeah. So I'm assuming Jesse Pinkman will, Aaron Paul will be the main guy here.
Yeah, I think they already said that, or they said that.
Yeah, so... And that's fine. Like, I'm cool with the movie, even if it doesn't air in theaters.
I think it's really weird that, like, old shows... I mean, it's not even that old, necessarily, but like, these shows are getting, like, movie prequels or sequels. Like, The Sopranos, I think they just cast some guy for that. Like, the Sopranos movie, I should say. And, like, Deadwood is filming their sequel movie now. It's like, okay.
Deadwood and Sopranos are like old enough though that you could make a case for them to get movies. Those stories have been far enough in the mind that Breaking Bad is still relatively fresh. Like, but hey, it's a huge series for TV history, so why not?
One that I've yet to finish.
You should.
I have the complete. I have the complete series too. I think I made it through like season 4, and I was like, I don't really like any of these characters.
Oh, you don't? Oh, well, that's a problem if you want to keep going, unless you're just gonna hate watch it.
Well, the show's not like the Flash level bad. It's not a bad show. I just don't like shows where like every character is kind of a piece of shit.
But like the point is that it's not like he just.
Well, I know it's like the decline of Walter White.
Right.
But even like at season 4, I'm like, okay,
he gets what he deserves. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like, he just gets to revel in being a freaking drug kingpin.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't have like the Tony Montana moment.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I loved it, so I'm excited for this. And I know there's obviously a lot of people that are, so.
Sure.
Also, I'm excited for Fruits Basket getting a full manga anime adaptation because the one that came out in 2001 was about the first 6 chapters of the manga, and it wasn't the full thing, so thank you to... The one cool thing about Sony taking Funimation away from Crunchyroll and Verve is that it looks like Sony's putting more money into Funimation now and making it a thing really worth that $6.99 or $5.99, whatever it is that I pay for that. They just
funny. Go on.
No, they just added 10 of the 13 or however many the frickin' DBZ movies there are to the service for you to watch. So they used to only have the first movie. So
it's funny you say that because I just got Persona 4 the animation Blu-ray I think a week and a half ago.
Oh really?
And I already had the DVD set, but the Blu-ray was like $20. So yeah, sure.
Nice. Hey, that's not bad. When those sales are there, take advantage of them.
It's funny because the DVD now is ridiculously expensive on Amazon.
Oh, I saw that. It's why? Even the Blu-ray went back up to 50 something, I think.
Yeah.
So
that's okay. You kind of expect that. Or it's like 36 right now, which not that bad necessarily, but still.
Yeah.
You forgot to talk about the Devil May Cry show.
Oh yes, we did. Well, we're watching. Good. We're talking about TV stuff, so it works here. So Adi Shankar, remember the rumor was that it might be a Zelda series. Well, not. It's actually, he's making a Devil May Cry series. It's not guaranteed that it's going to Netflix, but it's going to share a universe with Castlevania. Somehow. Even though they're 2 different game publishers.
Yeah.
But it's going to do it. It's in a multiverse with Castlevania.
I imagine someone may just make a cameo, or maybe at the end of Devil May Cry, they show he wakes up and he's in Dracula's castle or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Something like that. I mean, it's cool. I like that idea. That why not?
I don't know. I kind of don't want a DMC show necessarily. I would say there are better properties. I would want more of a cartoon show, but but at least it won't be. It's not going to be the '90s cartoon shows that were all really goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I love what they've been able to do with Castlevania. It's actually made me interested in playing the games more. And, yeah, I hope that, I don't know if Devil May Cry will do that same thing, but who knows? If it's really good, then I have faith in Adi Shankar right now.
Yeah.
And making animation stuff. For some reason... Well, I know why they're doing it, because they want to get money out of these properties, but for some reason, someone thinks that we need to reboot Shrek and Puss in Boots.
And Back to the Future.
Why? Leave stuff alone.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Illumination Animation CEO, Chris Melandri, actually doesn't want to necessarily reboot the series as much as he wants to move the series along, but they may not necessarily be sequels. But he wants to keep Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Antonio Banderas in there. Well, these guys aren't doing anything, so
yeah,
why not?
I mean, it's a bad idea. The only thing I could see working kind of is if you just remade the first movie
with the same voices again. Well, what are you gonna make? The first movie was the best movie.
I mean, from just an animation standpoint. I mean, that movie was almost 20 years old.
Well, I agree there, but I don't know. It just
You should.
Man, they really went bad with all those sequels. So, like, man, they would really have to do something great.
I would say also the biggest problem with those movies is like all the pop culture crap. It's just all, like really weirdly out of place.
Again, it worked for the first movie. After that, it just got ridiculous.
You should look up on YouTube because there's like a few clips of it of Chris Farley doing Shrek.
Oh, really?
Because he has like a very different take on the character. Because he was the original voice. I mean, before he died, but
I shall do that at some point. Like, I loved Shrek when I was a kid, like when I was in high school or whatever. Like, my dad was huge into that. The soundtrack was awesome.
yeah.
You know, there was a lot of things going for it. I mean, I obviously had an all-star cast at that point, but I don't know. Maybe they can make it work.
It aged a lot worse than like Toy Story did.
Toy Story, though, like that's a classic. Like, it's like there are things about Toy Story that will touch generations from now. Like, but Shrek it's not in that same vein.
The Queen song in Shrek doesn't do that.
No. I still need to watch both the Kingsman movies. But yes, Taron Egerton is not going to be in it.
The first one's great. Second one, not so much.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's just not quite as good as the first one. There's a really great sequence in the first one too.
Well, are you upset about him not being in it, or?
Well, I think the third one's supposed to be like a weird prequel. So I guess it wouldn't make sense if he's in it. I mean, it might be fine. I know they were talking about doing like a spin-off with like, what's his name? The guy who did they cast as? What's his name? Chris. Damn it! I can't. Channing Tatum, his character. That would be bad. Like, he was very inconsequential in the second movie. So we'll see. I imagine his Taron Egerton's Robin Hood movie's gonna suck ass, like all Robin Hood movies do.
I think I saw a 4.5 on IGN when I was going through there.
Yeah.
So
Robin Hood does not play anymore.
It doesn't. It hasn't for a long time. I don't know why they keep doing this.
That and like King Arthur movies, like no.
That too. Just stop. After that, like Clive Owen one.
Yeah.
With Keira Knightley, when Keira Knightley was still like sort of popular.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't work either. Stop.
But they keep trying to make like weird like historical movies. I was like, please don't.
Just don't. Yep. They don't work. Move on. So all we have left is to talk about the games we've been playing. I just want to go ahead so we don't have to do this later. Obviously, there are a lot of games that have come out, and like since we did the show, a lot of Spyro came out, Hitman 2, Fallout 76, which don't bother. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as well, and that SNK 40th Anniversary Collection came out too. Warframe's on Switch now. Beat Saber came out. Bending the Ink Machine's on Switch if you've been waiting to play that on a console. Battlefield 5 came out to like no one talking about it. And Wreckfest as well. And Darksiders 3 comes out next week. So I don't know if anybody's saving money out there for that or what, but just know that it's coming out. I'm sort of interested in that Nairi Tower of Shirin game that comes out next week. Skyforce Reloaded also comes out next week. And yeah, Pro Fishing Simulator.
Can't wait.
Go check that out. So yes, games we have been playing. You have been playing more Red Dead.
You can go first because I know you're going to talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, so Pokemon is everything I wanted it to be.
But the Pokemon aren't fuzzy enough, like in that trailer.
Let's talk about that trailer first. You know what? It's funny. I don't care about the Pokemon being fuzzy or whatever. I thought they nailed Pikachu. Some of the other Pokemon are weird, like Jigglypuff. But like Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu is just really funny. And I think I'm gonna like the story. I'm glad that they didn't do Ash first as the first movie.
He's not even the main character in the game, though. So
no, he's not. But I'm glad that they didn't do like, oh, let's do Pokemon the movie but live action. Like, I'm glad that they did the Pikachu thing.
I think that'd be hard though, because like, what story would you have Ash tell? Like,
I lost. I'm a loser. It's like, no, but
like the reason that like Pokemon movie, like the first one, the original one, did okay, kind of, was because it was based on the anime that ran for 100 episodes. It was
like when Pokemon was super freaking popular. So
yeah.
I mean, it still is, but I'm saying that's when it first like hit the scene. So it wouldn't have mattered what you made that movie about. People were gonna go see it. It's like I really think they did a great job. There's a lot of odes to Pokemon in there, in the trailer. Just I really like what they did with Pikachu though. The voice is good. The lines were funny. The Mr. Mime part was hilarious. I want to see more of it. Obviously, like I'm excited. I think there was so many things they could have done wrong, and somehow it works. Like, I don't know. I know you're not a big Pokemon fan, but like, what do you think?
I mean, it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit for like this generation.
Hey, that's fine. Who Framed Roger Rabbit's a good movie. I like it anyway.
That's kind of my thought. Like, yeah, it's just kind of redoing that.
Do you like Ryan Reynolds?
It sounded a little strange, but it'll be fine. The thing I actually like more, I don't know if you saw it, but the Lego Movie 2 trailer came out like yesterday.
I haven't seen that yet, no.
So there's a bit, they introduced a new character, like, I forget the guy's name, he's like Captain Awesome or something. He's also voiced by Chris Pratt. And his joke is like, I think like Chris Pratt as Emmett goes like, oh, what do you do? And this guy goes like, oh, I'm a dinosaur expert. I'm an intergalactic like superhero. He lists like 5 or 6 things, and it's just basically all of callbacks like Chris Pratt's like work for the past like 5 years.
That's great. Awesome.
No, I think that Pokemon thing looks fine. I don't think I'll probably see it necessarily. I know you will. But sure.
Yeah, so Pokemon Let's Go. I got the Pikachu version. Like it is. I really hope that when the one that comes out next year happens, they give you an option to either fight the wild Pokemon or catch them like Go. I honestly prefer not having to do the wild battles. Like, those got annoying. But also there's times where like the catching mechanic gets annoying because they just keep getting out of the Pokeball constantly when you get to the higher level Pokemon. And I know that's the point, but it's also just really frustrating. So like, I don't know, maybe an in-between of that. I don't know how you can do that, but I don't know that I want to do the wild battles all the time. But it is amazing to be able to see the Pokemon on screen out in the wild without having to, like, oh, you're just going through a bunch of grass and then something randomly appears. Like, to see them there and then you can decide whether you want to fight, whether you want to catch something or not is really cool. Like traveling through Kanto again and getting to do it with Anaya too, because I'm the perfect person for this. Like, Anaya got to play with me and we got to do the double catching thing, and also throw underhanded. You won't miss. If you throw overhanded, the camera is wonky. So just a tip for people. Like, I know that you want to throw it like a baseball or throw it like Ash or whatever, but don't, because
doesn't he kind of like pitch it out?
Yeah, it's like he's throwing a pitch. Yeah, so like don't do that because it'll go to the left or whatever or not. Every time I threw underhanded, never had a problem. I mean, they do move around like the Pokemon when they get to like the harder, like the evolutions. So you're gonna have that problem, but it's easier if you throw underhanded. Just the like seeing the gym leaders and like what they would look like if this was like a higher resolution game is really cool. Just it's like getting to go through that again. I really enjoyed Yellow when it first came out, and like just getting that, like feeling like Pokemon's a living world in a game finally is like really awesome. So, and they've added like neat little touches. Like I'm inside the Pokemon Tower, where I was inside the Pokemon Tower. I'm going over to Celadon City, and that's where I stopped. The fact that they have like ghosts actually chase you and try to get you to like get, it makes you go back down to floor 1 if you don't escape them. When you're essentially inside like a haunted mansion the whole time, like I thought that was a nice little touch to make it feel more like, you're scared of ghosts. You should be. I just thought that they did a really good job with it, and yes, it is easy. Yes, I have a really big problem with the whole they didn't let you take off experience share because the Pokemon level too fast. But, to be fair, like most of the trainers, they do have them like level to you. At least there's like ace trainers and stuff like that they add in that weren't there in the original game that do that. So, and you also have a different rival, and he's not an asshole. He's nice, but you battle him a lot more than you ever did with Blue. So, you'll get that as well. There's a lot more trainers in this game. So, if you don't like the catching thing, once you get past the first couple of hours, there's gonna be so many trainers that you're not gonna have to catch to level up. The grind is not as bad as a normal Pokemon game. So, that being said, it probably will I've seen people say it take them like 15 hours to beat the game. If you don't like try to catch a lot of Pokemon or try to, if you're like navigating and not beating a lot of the trainers, you can beat it really fast. So just be aware. And I would say the Pokeball works fine. It took me a while to figure out how to move with it, because depending on how you hold it, you might wind up inverted, so you have to make sure you hold it right. But also getting Mew at the beginning of a game is weird. But he obviously helps you a lot, so, between Pikachu and Mew, you can, like, decimate trainers pretty quickly. So that's another thing too. If you want to have a challenge, don't use them as much. But Pikachu is absolutely adorable. They add so much stuff with him. It's ridiculous. Like, if you didn't love Pikachu before enough, you're gonna love him to death by the time you get done with that game, because he's just super cute all the time. And there's like one time where you get through this part and you go up to it, because there's a thing that tells you, like, he wants your attention. And you go up to him and he gives you, like, a thing of flowers. And you're like, how can you hate that? So, yeah, it's just... I think Nintendo did a great job with it. I didn't care about Pokemon Go at all. I still don't. But I don't hate... Like, I thought there's going to be a lot I didn't... I was going to be like, oh, they butchered one of my favorite games ever. And I just really... feel like I waited, and it was all worth the wait. So if you're one of those on the fence, I would say get it. You're going to enjoy it more than you think.
Sure.
So you kind of hinted at, like, you don't like Red Dead?
No.
After playing it?
Well, first of all, it's really buggy. Buggy, like, it's like the buggiest Rockstar game I've come across. which is like saying like those games are actually.
I mean, but it's also probably the most like ambitious as far as like what they do. So you're gonna
No,
run into that.
GTA 5 is like way more ambitious.
Well, with the people, all the story elements, and
Oh,
like the
you mean like the three characters that disappeared from my camp for an entire chapter, and like Rockstar's like, oh, we know about that. It's like, okay, I'm glad you know. How about a patch? uh, like I got money in the game. There's a funny infinite money glitch you can do, and nothing to spend it on.
Yeah, but don't you like get money quick enough anyway that like eventually it doesn't matter?
Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, I did the glitch. I got like 10 grand in cash, maybe like 11, I think, and like I bought out everything I could possibly buy out, and I'm down like to 8 grand now, and that's it.
That's not much.
Yeah, and it's really fun. Like I already bought practically every camp upgrade I could buy, and then it's constantly funny like to hear characters go like, "Oh, we're so poor," and it's like, here,
Yeah,
I have
right?
a wallet. I don't like how the character moves that much. I really hate the horse. Like
Yeah, I've
driving.
heard that the horse is really annoying.
Yeah.
So you don't
Combat.
feed your horse and do all that.
Yeah, you got to feed it, and then you got to like clean it constantly. It gets like dirty. The targeting in the game is just bad, or like like they just put too many things. Like they have too much stuff going on for the controls to handle correctly. Because a lot of controls get like context sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like hold L2 to target someone, and then you have like a menu pop up that says like, oh, you can rob them or greet them or like antagonize them. But if there's like different stuff, like if there's different targetable items, the game kind of freaks out. Like I've punched my horse like 2 or 3 times when I'm just trying to like brush it because like the menu doesn't work or something, and I hit the button thinking it's going to work and it doesn't.
So the Deadeye doesn't help with the targeting, or
It's fine. Like I mean, the Deadeye's helpful for combat. I don't like the core system at all. Like the fact that you have like these like little items you have to constantly refill. Like the Deadeye goes way too quickly. It drains constantly when you use it. And I got like level 7 Deadeye, and it's still like you can use it for like 10 seconds and then it's gone.
wow.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of hard game. It's not like hard like this is challenging. It's hard like it's cheap. Yeah, it's just really weird. Like I still like the character. Like the game world's kind of okay. But it's very boring to me. Like even compared to like Red Dead 1. Like I like that game quite a bit. Yeah.
And then moving around kind of slow doesn't help, I'm sure.
No, I mean you can get like fast travel, which is strange. It's weird how much stuff Red Dead 1 had this game does not have. Like in Red Dead 1, you can fast travel from your camp. Like whatever, you could just put a marker down, you just fast travel to it. Or you could like cheat in poker, and then, if you got caught, you got like in a duel. This game you have like a ton of outfits to buy, and that's about it. Or you can go to like a photography studio, which feels like really out of place. Like you're making like selfie, like it's just like selfie cam or something. It's like not every game needs this.
So do you like the like random like people coming up and
some of them are okay, but most of them are like a lot. I got a lot like, I mean, there's a trope of like the guy like he got poisoned. You have to either suck the poison out or give him like a health tonic. But I hit like 4 different people who go like, oh, I'm out of food and water. Can you give me a ride back to town? And I go like, sure. And they just try to jack your horse, like they just throw you off and I try to ride away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I get up way too quickly and I can just shoot you. Like, who cares? This takes 20 seconds and I'm done. I just keep going on my way.
Right.
It was also funny because I finally hit chapter 4 tonight. And I think there's only 2 left to go. I'm really trying to like mainline the game now, or like doing the stranger missions, but just avoiding anything else. And I had there's a quest where like two kids stole my wallet, so I'm chasing this kid in like this big town. And the first thing I tried to do is shoot him, and it wouldn't let me do it. And I'm like, no, if someone took my wallet, I'd just shoot him in the head. Like, okay, I don't care if he's a kid or not.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't do that. Imagine the shit Rockstar would get. It's just...
And it's funny because there's a whole bunch of challenges like in the first game, but they're really hard to pull off. Like one of them is like get 5 bird kills from a moving train. So I climbed on a train that was moving. I shot a bird, and I instantly got wanted because like the people in the train heard me fire a gun and got freaked out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? Like, what kind of stupid challenge is this? Or like one challenge is like get 3 like hunter bird kills with a tomahawk. And it's like I've yet to see any bird that hunts or like any carnivorous bird. So
there's no vulture or
there may be, but the map is so poorly like explained, or like they have like icons for where animals are. Like, oh, here's a bear looking icon, so the bears are here. I'm like, I think the first game just had maps that you could just buy that would just tell you where everything was.
It's the way they want you to experience the game.
Yeah,
I guess.
I just think I think it's too like I realize it's a Western game, but I think it's just too slow. And yeah, just the bugs annoy me, and it's just weird. I think my favorite Rockstar game is Bully still.
Well, you're not alone in the whole "it's too slow" thing. I've heard a lot of that. So, and
like, I don't care that they modeled horse testicles or horse shitting or whatever. Like, good job. That doesn't make this game any more fun.
Yeah, the people that like really defend it, my gosh, they're ridiculous about it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, people cannot like something.
Yeah, the thing is, it's an extremely well made game. Like, I'm not going to say like, oh, it's a bad game. 'Cause I even had problems like that with the first one to an extent, but I got over it. Like, I think the story was picking up. This game, the story doesn't pick up, or it hasn't yet. And I think just the environment is too small.
I mean, like, I've heard a lot of that, of just the people that really like it, okay, they like it, and they just got so into the story, and they love both parts of the story, and all that, and the people that feel like you, they're just kind of like, they get to that point, and it's not... Yeah, where they just like, oh my god, I want to mainline this. I want to be done with it. I want to just be done with it and not have to play it again. And like, and
What's funny because like you listened to the Beastcast last week, and you were telling me about Dan Reichert, like saying a lot of the same things, and I listened to it, and I'm like, I disagree with him on certain things, but overall I agree. But I have a friend who's like playing it. He's like, oh, I completely disagree with that. But he's like, 5 hours in the game. He's not,
Right, yeah, I mean, that's... You haven't experienced the, like, when you get to that, 30, 40 hour, you're like, oh my god, like, let's go.
Yeah.
And yeah, even Jason Schreier, who loved it, he said, man, I wish it was 30% shorter.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was funny because he does the Kotaku split screen with Kirk Hamilton, and I think Kirk Hamilton was saying that he's at that point just like Dan, where he's just like, okay, I'm just trying to mainline this, like, let's get it over with. And I'm like, yeah.
One funny thing is, like, I'm trying to create like this talisman to I think it's supposed to increase your Deadeye meter or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find like a silver chain bracelet, and whenever you do a mission in the game, you kill dozens of guys.
Right.
Like, but you can never pick up loot because the game constantly is trying to push you forward in the mission.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I want... Give me 5 minutes, let me pick up all this stupid loot and see if I can get this one thing I need.
Right.
Because I can't buy the thing.
And it literally won't let you?
No. like I just did a mission where there's a big mission where you have to like invade this
Then why does
mansion.
it drop loot if it doesn't let you pick it up?
I mean, you can, but the characters are constantly going, like, "Oh, we need help kicking in this door," or come on and come in the house and like let's go. And I'm like, there are 15 enemies here. I could be picking up crap from. Give me a minute. And every mission ends
shut up
with
and
you,
leave me alone. I'm trying to pick up my loot, damn it.
Yeah, and every mission ends with you basically like going away in your horse, so all the loot basically disappears. It's like, ugh.
Well, any other game you want to?
I did play Tetris Effect. I beat it, the story mode, like at least on normal. It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, really good music. I think, like good interaction with like the Tetris goings on. And I actually bought The Room 3 on Steam.
How is that?
It seems better than The Room 2.
So it's like a puzzle game, right? Or
yeah, it's mainly a mobile game.
okay.
And like you're supposed to like use touch controls to like interact or manipulate things in the game. Like to open a door, you actually have to like turn the knob or like pull it open and stuff like that. So they kind of emulate that with the mouse, which is okay. It's just kind of it's good. It's just very esoteric.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like you're staring at this box for 2 minutes and then trying to figure out how to open it, and the game's like, oh, if you look in this one corner, you can see the scrape mark for like the latch, and I'm like, well, thank God you pointed it out, because I could be here for 20 minutes and not see it, and then just get pissed off and turn it off.
Right.
But yeah, I like it. It's very solitary and slow, but I mean, I like a good puzzle game, so sure.
I mentioned I did the upgrade to the
Final
Fantasy Maxima. I restarted my game, so I haven't gotten to any of the actual like getting to play as one of the Final Fantasy characters. Like I got to the point where you like Cecil, figures out that he's, or not Cecil, the Warrior of Light figures out who he is.
Yeah.
And then I got into a forest area, and I ran to the first, like, where it frickin' says, oh, you can't progress unless you get this one monster that has this one attack. And then Pokemon came out, and I haven't played it again. But it's like, I hate that frickin' monster blocking thing. It's like,
yeah.
I wish they wouldn't have done that. It's like, just let me get whatever monster I want, not have to make me get certain ones. I
hated in that game all the stupid lingo that they invented, like the Prismariums and all the stupid crap.
Well, the Prismarium was there before, but
I mean, just call it a Pokeball. Like, who cares?
Well, like they have to though. They can't call it a Pokeball.
We'll call it like the Ball of Light. Like,
yeah.
How are you enjoying that Moogle dialogue?
Oh, I was used to him from before. The this and the that. And,
yeah.
I mean, he's annoying, but there's worse things. Yeah, I mean, and then you have the Edna Kroos that looks like she could be Kuja's girlfriend or sister. So there's that. But no, I mean I haven't gotten to experience whatever was worth $16, so I can't comment on that yet, but I like the game. Like, I like those kids, fine. It's just the monster thing is annoying. Aside from that, like, I remember things that I liked about the game, like the stacking thing and all that,
yeah.
like,
It's funny how you can break parts of that game if you get like certain monsters.
Yes, that too. Like I remember getting the behemoth and
yeah, or I think I got like an Odin and I just could just destroy almost anything I come across.
God, I love how there's always a Switch tax on everything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like Bendy costs $20 on PS4 and Xbox One, and it's $30 on Switch because it's on friggin' Switch. So
Well,
ridiculous.
one other game I bought. I only played the first level or first two levels was Sonic Mania.
I
It was
like
$7 on
Mania.
Steam, and 14 everywhere else. It's like tough choice here.
Right?
But good, really good music, and I'm terrible at the bonus levels. I think it's I know what I'm supposed to do, but I think I'm using a 360 controller, and it's just very inaccurate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it.
Sure.
For this week. We talked for like 2.5 hours, and it's also 5 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast. So, yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Don't go crazy on Black Friday, and
I am.
Hit people up with stuff. Like I meant in being dangerous. So you buy whatever you want.
No, well, my plan. I'm going to a used DVD store, where everything's going to be half off.
Oh, nice.
And if you spend $100, you get a $25 coupon.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Well, yeah. Enjoy that time with your family, and we will see you next week.
Yep, later.
Later, everybody.